Hi, good afternoon, it's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. I've been looking at a few articles of what's been going on over Canada. If you remember yesterday I said to you, keep an eye on what's going on over in Canada, because I think that this is going to be, well, it already has been repeated all over Europe as well, even in the United Kingdom. I mean, I couldn't even avoid being caught up a few weeks ago now, about 4 weeks ago, month ago, down in Weymouth, coming back from a little overnight fishing trip, and ended up in 9 floods. That was well over the door sill line. How we made it back without, locking up the engine by a process that's called hydraulicking. That's what happens when your air intake in your car takes a good gulp of water and sends it into the pistons, when there should just be air and fuel going in there, and as a result that can lock up your engine and destroy the car, causing thousands of pounds worth of damage. But we was lucky, but these people in Canada haven't been. They have, and they even say themselves what I was talking about yesterday. By the time they fix one problem, the next problem's already on their back. They've been battered in Canada this year by record-breaking heat and then record-breaking downpours of rain. What's the cause of all this? Well, the cause is quite simple. It's the jet streams. When you get subtropical jet streams coming up and meeting cold air, of course that precipitation or that humidity is going to drop out the sky. And this is why I find this alarming, because they talk about global warming when in fact it's only until something cools that disasters like this actually happen. The only way you're going to get rain to fall out the sky is by rapidly cooling it, and of course that's going to happen when a subtropical jet stream comes in contact with a polar jet stream. And the reason why we are seeing the dislocation more than we ever have done, and the unpredictable weather that we're getting now, is because of that problem. It's the jet streams mixing together with each other. We're supposed to have a nice jet stream around 60 degrees north, which is your polar jet stream, and around 30 degrees we should have the subtropical jet stream. They don't usually collide with each other, but when they do, we get events like this. Now, I know the video is going to be out of sync. I just wanted to show you what effects these jet streams have, on the hand, where it drops tons of rain in record amounts of time. And you can see that there is literally mud and sediment all over the streets. And I really feel sorry for this couple here. They've loaded up what they could, and this is what I don't want to see you guys go through. You can see on the expression of these people's faces, Bernie and Brian Weber, loading up the last pieces of equipment that they've got left that they could salvage. And you can see that they're elderly people and they're absolutely devastated. Almost brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it? And they never thought this was going to happen, never thought it was possible. And if they did, then they would have prepared, wouldn't they? Surely they would have prepared. But this is what we're going to see more of, as we've seen over in Europe this year and now in Canada. People's lives destroyed in moments, their homes destroyed, everything that they've worked for washed away. And this is going to keep recurring because we haven't reached any signs of equilibrium yet. This is going to keep getting worse. And channels like mine that have been recently targeted by the neo-Nazi Google corporation, I'm just saying, I'm not the only one in any case. I mean, I've just went over to Tony Ellis' site. It looks like he's been banned again for another 7 days or so, but he still hasn't done a video recently. And isn't it more than a coincidence that the people that actually have some credibility, are the ones that are getting targeted by, Google, YouTube? At least there are still some good people here. It looks like they've put a big pot of stew on or something like that to keep people fed. Those that can't have lost electricity and gas and have no means, or their food or the pantries were destroyed. At least there are still some people out there with a good heart. You know, this is only going to become a more familiar scene, and the last thing I want to do is desensitize you guys to this. You know, I want you to know that there is more to come, and it's going to get much worse. Someone said to me, well, we need to start now talking about what we're going to do. Well, it all depends on how fast things happen, and you know, what we're trying to do here at the Observatory is effort that, so we've got an idea of what we're looking at in the short term, you know, arrangements, so that people can make some plans. But you know what I would say right now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, does it, to work out what you need to do. And what I'm saying here is like, make sure you've got some damn good waterproofs that are good for at least minus 25 degrees. You know, have a couple of pairs if you can afford it, each, for each member of your family. Have a small stockpile of food. Have some temporary accommodations there ready to go. Have a small, you know, gas-filled camping cooker. Something you can put in a backpack. What we're talking about here is just basic bug-out stuff. And if you go and type in bug-out bags on YouTube, you're going to get an idea of what you need to put in there. But, you know, this is going to be a more common sight for us all. I said we're all going to sit here, most of us, on the armchairs of our living room, in our living rooms, and watch this take place. What can we do? We can't do much about it. You know, we can prepare as best we can. That's, you know, better than doing nothing at all. But in general, we're dealing with nature, and it is going to have the end decision, you know, and we're just going to have to live with it. We can't control that force as much as we think we can. We can't. I know what people are going to say in the comment section. Well, we can cloud seed to dry up clouds, make it not rain. We can cloud seed to make it rain. Yes, that technology is not a myth. It's not a conspiracy. It actually is out there. There are companies, if you research it, that actually provide that service. You know, you can pay them and they will make it rain, or they will dry up clouds for you. It's, you know, this is nothing new here, you know, but on the scale that nature works is a different thing entirely. And, you know, it would be criminal if companies did have the capacity to do it on that scale that we're watching here, you know, in Canada. Like I say, you know, when you go and settle your colony in a region that was pretty much uninhabitable for the last 100,000 years, and only in the last 15,000 years does it look suitable for colonisation, well, you better make sure you've got an endless bank account, and you can afford fleets of icebreakers to come and clear the ocean so that you can get your cargo in there. It won't be just the roads that wash away, and it won't be just the railways that wash away. Like we're seeing here, it will be people's livelihoods. It will make it impossible for businesses to continue in their normal daily routines. It will make it impossible for people to live in these regions. This isn't a one-off event. These are long-term events that are set to get a lot worse, or worse. Because, you know, I know some people will comment there's no such word as worse, but you know, it will get worse. That is the bottom line. We haven't reached equilibrium yet, and we are trying our best here at the Observatory, but we have such a microscopic budget, but we are trying our utmost best to keep you informed and at least give you some heads up well ahead of time. And we can do that on a couple of things, but we don't know completely what are the effects that the magnetic pole reverse is having on this planet, and we don't know what could be the outcome. We've got some good ideas, and they're not good. It is really not good, because there are some variables which sets this magnetic pole reversal up against all the others. The fact it's a 500,000 years overdue, so we can't guarantee nothing. What you think after the magnetic poles start to migrate and the magnetosphere collapses down to about 5%, do you think we can guarantee that it's going to come back up just because it did all the other times? There's no guarantee in that. We could lose our magnetosphere, and that could be the end of the biodiversity on the planet for everybody. everything alive will die. And you think it can't happen? I suggest having a look at the history of Mars. We don't know. And NASA can't say for sure. That's why they're keeping quiet on this event that's taking place. It is a big event. And it has got a lot of people scratching their head, trust me, even in NASA and all the other organisations like European Space Agency, NOAA, etc. You know, meanwhile all this is happening, you know, we have to do something about a new trend which is coming about, and that is to do with corporations. We need to get them nailed down on human rights. Look, it's as simple as this. You and I, and all the rest of the world witnessed how a corporation shut a president up during the last election in the United States. Do you think any corporation should have that power? But you saw these corporations all come together. These are trillion-dollar industries. I'm talking about Google, Facebook, Twitter, how they all ganged up and shut a president up. That's the power that these corporations have, yet they have no responsibility or accountability for human rights. If corporations are going to have more power than a president, then they need to be held accountable as far as I'm concerned, and they need to be held accountable for, you know, overstepping the line with regards to how you treat a basic human being. If this is a democratic society that we live in, then when you victimize somebody and when you abuse their human rights and you have more power than a president, then you should be held accountable for that, as far as I'm concerned. What Google don't realise is that by doing what they did to my channel has just lit the afterburner, and we're going after them, and we're doing it the legal way. We're at this moment now, you know, taking measures with members of parliament, and it ain't going to go away, because these members of parliament will not say that they do not support a democratic society, because this is a democracy which we live in, isn't it? And they're all too willing to tell us how much of a democracy they live in. Well, if we really live in a democracy, and if we are going to accept technological advancements where corporations like this have more power than actual countries, then there needs to be amendments to the law. I think you would all absolutely agree with me on this. Corporations shouldn't have the benefits of the both world. One, where they are entitled to rely on human rights for themselves to protect the corporation, and then two, they have no accountability for violating somebody's human rights. No, something has to be done about that, because I do believe that governments are exploiting the fact that these corporations have these loopholes, and we need to put pressure on our members of parliament, members of Congress, and whatever other senators or whatever it is. We need to get the law changed so that corporations, large businesses and entities have to respect human basic rights. And meanwhile, we're on the 1st of December. We're coming up to the new year very shortly. It is going to be my utmost to get 3 magnetometers out there into the most critical places we can. 1, Russia, 2, Brazil, and 3, South Africa. And we've covered pretty much all the hot zones then around the world. We've got some great people already supporting us at the Observatory. We've taken their time out to have these magnetometers in their homes and collecting the data for us and then sending it back here to the UK so we can process it, get it up onto the website and archive it for you so you can see what's been happening and how it's been happening over the years. But, and I hate having to say this, but guys, this is an observatory that is publicly funded, And at the moment, I did joke about it yesterday, being funded to the size of a mosquito's testicle at the moment, and something really needs to be done about that. This is not a time to start, you know, being selfish and saying, okay, well, if those people that don't support because they can't afford to, then stuff them, Gene. You know, do something more on Patreon for those that are paying. It ain't about that. We are all brothers and sisters on this planet, and every one of us has an entitlement to information, and I have never supported trying to block that for anyone, even to the point where I've driven myself into a bit of debt. You know, if we all stick together, we can all get solutions to these problems that we are facing. It's as simple as that. Guys, you know, keep your eye on Canada, keep your eye on Northern Europe at the moment, or any territory really over 40 degrees latitude, because things are starting to go worse for a lot of these countries. And we are about to sit there in our armchairs and watch more people, like we've showed here, lose everything. It would be great if we could get the word out for some of these people, and, you know, at least we give them the option of knowing what was coming, instead of, you know, like in Europe this year, a woman went to bed in the night, woke up with the front and lower part of her house literally washed away. There's a link down there if you want to help support what we do. And I will say what I usually do, guys. You take care of your loved ones. As always, bye for now.